welcome to another episode of Tell It to the World. Today we're downtown Orlando, as you can see behind me, minus Richard and Jeffrey. And we're actually downtown. We're going to be talking to the people about 9/11. As we all know, it was a tragic event that actually took place, and we know that many lives were lost that day. So we just want to talk to the people downtown Orlando and see what they have to say about the issue, and also try to tug their hearts and lead them back to Christ. And also, of course, as we talk to them about 9/11, we're going to leave with them the great controversy in National Sunday Law. And prayerfully, God works on their hearts and lets them know what's taking place in this world today. And also just reminding people that Jesus is coming soon. And we want people to be ready. And we want to be ready too. So stay tuned and stick around.
All right, we're back here in downtown Orlando. And I have with me today...
It's Mike.
It's Mike. Mike, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Awesome. All right, so let's get right into the interview. Now, Mike, where were you and what was your reaction to the 9/11 terrorist attacks that occurred in 2001?
I was actually still in school at Florida State up in Tallahassee, and it was actually in the morning before class. I remember waking up and seeing it on the news right before the second plane hit. After the first one did, wondering, was this just an accident or what was going on? And then literally the other plane flew right in, and realizing something's not right. So a little freaky. I remember waking up my roommates and then all the phones not working, and then also being worried about, because Jeb Bush was the governor at the time, there was rumors that there was worries they were going to come attack down there as well, and just not really knowing what to do.
All right, Paul, so where were you and what was your reaction to the terrorist attack on September 11, 2001?
Oh, I remember exactly where I was. It was early in the morning, just starting the day off at work. Colleague came into work, and all of a sudden he said, hey, a plane just flew into the World Trade Center. And I know that back in the day, an Air Force plane had flown into the Empire State Building, but that was, you know, fog and stuff. So I thought it was just a small plane. A few minutes later, he called and said, hey, another plane just flew in. We went, grabbed a TV out in the warehouse, turned it on to ABC News, and watched it all unfold.
Yeah, it was very tragic that day.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable, that's right. I was actually in New York. I was in the first grade at the time. Yes, but since that time, there's been a lot of changes that have happened in our society since September 11. And here's just a few. We know that the Patriot Act, it was implemented afterwards, and that's a piece of legislation which was to improve the abilities of U.S. law enforcement to detect and deter terrorism. Deportations, that also rose to 104% from 2001 to 2010. Air travel, after that time, they implemented TSA, which before that, each airport had outsourced its own private security companies. Also, airport security, you now need an ID to match your boarding ticket. You have to remove your shoes and your belt. There's enhanced pat-downs. I received a pat-down once myself. And also liquid ban. So with all of these changes, do you feel safer now, or do you think more security measures need to be implemented?
I mean, I feel as safe as you can feel nowadays. I don't know what proposed changes there are, but, you know, a bad guy with a box cutter can do a lot of damage.
So would you say that you feel safer now, or do you think more security measures need to be put in place?
I think I feel safer.
Yeah. And so overall, what is more important to you, privacy or security?
Security.
Okay, let me ask you guys this. What do you value more, privacy or security?
Security.
What do you value more? Would you say that you value privacy or security as it relates to this whole element of, you know, you being pat down and searched? What would you value more?
Privacy.
Privacy?
Yeah, because again, they're going to, if someone wants to hurt us, they're going to. They're going to find a way. There's always a loophole or a different way they're going to do it that no one's thought of. And all we can do is just live our lives the best we can, but hope that there's not Big Brother out there just infringing on everything we do, forcing it. Because what happens to that data, typically it gets sold to the media, or sold to corporations, and they're able to use that to try and infringe on us commercially. So I don't know. To me, it's privacy is more important.
All right, so you like security over privacy then?
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, as we look at that, since September 11, we can see how our privacy, though, has been stripped away and is being stripped away, and security has been enhanced. For instance, you look at tech companies such as Amazon, Google, Apple, and they can track and monitor our movements via the purchases we make on the internet and even our cell phones, like the iPhone.
So I think I better. I made a mistake. Then I think it's privacy. Yeah.
All right. So you take that back.
My privacy. Yes. I take that back 100%.
All right. And right now here in Orlando, this is the headline. It says Orlando police, they are testing Amazon's supercharged surveillance facial recognition system. So basically what's going on is you see all these cameras around Orlando. Amazon has this program now where using the cameras, you can detect people's faces. And our police department is piloting this system. So we see that our privacy is being stripped away. Now, as we look at these events that are taking place, did you know that Bible prophecy has foretold these events?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
All right, Francine. Well, it's right here, Matthew 24, and we see here that the disciples were speaking with Jesus, and they wanted to know what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the world. Jesus said in verse 6, he says, you will hear of wars, rumors of wars. Nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. Then there's going to be famines, pestilences, earthquakes, and diverse places. That's calamities, right? And what's happening?
That's in the Revelation.
You're right. All right. You study.
Yes. And it seems like this. We are living in Revelation. I really do believe.
Oh, yes. Many things in that book have been and are still being fulfilled.
Yes.
And that's interesting you brought that up. Because, as we look at even now calamities such as Florence is headed towards South Carolina and North Carolina. And Christ says, these events show you that I am coming soon. So now, as we go back to 9/11, do you know how many people's lives were lost on that day?
No, I don't, sir.
So, just to ask you this, do you know how many lives were lost during the 9/11 terrorist attacks?
I think there was in the towers that were lost and the planes that crashed in Pennsylvania and D.C. and the Pentagon total, I think about 3,000 or 4,000, but that doesn't count all the other families that lives were lost in terms of now you've had a broken family and people missing. So I know it affected tens of thousands, but I'd say about 3,000 or 4,000 people.
Exactly. You're very correct. Even here, according to Wikipedia and other sources, a total of call it 3,000. That's just a figure they gave. 3,000 to 4,000. You're definitely correct. Many lives lost, but again, all those families that were affected, those are unnumbered, because again, that trickles down to every single person that was affected by a lost friend, a lost family member. And it's very interesting as we see just the rise of crime and terrorism in the world. It's again showing us that we are living in some perilous times. And as we see there are many lives being lost today, the Bible brings to view a principle in Proverbs 27 as well as James 1 verse 4, which tells us that tomorrow is not promised to anyone. Today we wake up and we go about our lives, and tomorrow, we are not here. It's just like those people who died, the family members who died in the terrorist attacks. They woke up one morning not, just going about their lives, going about their business, expecting to come back to their families, yet that day was not promised to them, and they perished, unfortunately, in that disaster. But 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 2 tells us, Mike, it gives us some hope here. It says, now is the accepted time. Now is the day of salvation. So it's bringing us right back to Jesus Christ, showing that we should be now making our choice to follow after God. Because again, this nation was built on the principle of Protestantism, on God, and in God we trust. And it's telling us that we must be now choosing to follow after Jesus Christ and making those decisions every day. Because tomorrow we could be here one moment and gone the next. So we have to be making the decisions to follow after Christ. Mike, what we want to do for you is leave you with this gift bag here, showing how history is indeed being repeated. And in that gift bag are some awesome literatures that have been, a blessing toward us. And in that book, in that literature bag also is a book called The Great Controversy, which outlines the past, present, and future and ties it into biblical prophecy. It's an awesome read, and I hope you are blessed by that book as well. Do you have any more comments for us?
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Mike. I appreciate taking the time out. Yeah. All right.
Going back to 9/11, do you know how many people lost their lives that day?
A little over 3,000.
Exactly.
Not including those that wound up losing because they were like the first responders that were breathing all that toxic stuff.
And as I think about 9/11, the thing that really hits me is that the people that lost their lives that day, they didn't wake up that day and say, hey, I'm going to lose my life.
Just another day.
Exactly, just another day.
Like today.
Just like today. That's where I was going. And so, when I look at September 11, it brings me back to that point. And I say, I don't know when my time is, when I'm going to die. And so I want to choose to give my life to Christ so that when I die, I know I will see him at his second coming.
That's why we say our prayers every morning, right?
Exactly. So do you today choose to give your life to Christ so that you may be ready?
Every morning. Do every morning.
Exactly. And I love that you said that every morning, because it's a daily work. It's not a one-time thing, it's a daily work. And so with that being said, we just want to encourage you. 2 Corinthians 6 verse 2, it says, now is the acceptable time. Now is the day of salvation. So with that, I just want to leave you with this gift right here. And it's speaking about history and how history is being repeated. The book Great Controversy is powerful. I hope you have a great day.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of Tell It to the World. Now, you saw the responses of those who we interviewed on the anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. So much has transpired from that time, and as we are living in these last days, events will continue to increase, showing us that Jesus Christ is soon to come. And friends, we need to be found ready that when Christ does come, we'll be found worthy to accept and receive salvation. Now, don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and our Facebook. We'll see you next time.
I was just like, my name is Jesse, because I was holding the camera. So, hi, Jesse. All right. Too bad we couldn't interview him. He was driving.